brothers and sisters. Again, we are gathered for Sabbath Seder, and we got a good lesson today. We missed last week. I had to go out of town and take care of some ministry business. But remember that the last teaching we dealt with was concerning faithfulness, that is the making of a vow. To make a vow, the command on vows is commands on faithfulness. Okay. That one should not make a vow or a pledge in falsehood. Okay. Shakar, to falsify. That is to say that you're going to do something and then you don't do it. Yeshua said that Od Shamatim Ma Shomara Li Gidem Munim. He said, remember what was said to the Eastern ones. Gidem Munim. Those who were facing the East, not literally so, but spiritually. To face the East is to be in a place of reception. Okay. Reception of the divine things that proceed forth from Elohim. So he said, it was said to them, Lo Tish Bahu. Okay. Lo Tish Bahu. Okay. Not you make a vow, Beshemi, in my name, Le Shakar, to lie erroneously. Okay. This is what was taught to those who are in reception. Okay. Don't say that you're going to be doing something with no intent of fulfilling what you say. I always say if you can't fulfill your own word, I know for a fact you cannot fulfill Yahweh's word. Okay. Unfaithfulness. All right. It is something that is developed, especially in this culture of manipulation, where lies are normal. We call it wisdom. To say you're going to do something in order to achieve a selfish purpose. Okay. So Yeshua dealt with faithfulness, being faithful. This is what was taught to the Kedim Munim, to the Eastern ones, to those who are in a reception of divine nature, a reception of spiritual power, a reception of relationship with our Creator, Yahweh Elohim. Now we go to Matthew 5:34 through 35. Okay. And Yeshua here is not debuting what was said previously, as it is seemingly translated in the KJV. Okay. He said, Ve'ani, and I, or also I. That means I'm adding on to this. I'm giving you a deeper perspective of this. Okay. Ve'ani Yomar, saying, Lechem. Also, I'm saying to you, I'm adding on to this commandment. I'm teaching you further on this commandment. Okay. Le bebalti be sheba besum anyon lo beshamayim she hise Elohim Haya. So he said, and I am also saying to you, you, him, plural, to absent, to make absent, to be without. Okay. To be without this intent to make a vow falsely. Okay. Ha-sheba. To absent that vow. What vow? the vow that he's talking about in the previous verse. The vow in his name that you make falsely. Okay? Okay, let's clarify that. Because in the KJV it's saying don't make a vow at all. But he said no. A vow that you make in my name, shakar, li shakar, falsely. Okay? So you got to take this and reference to the verse above in order to get the proper understanding of what Yeshua was teaching. He was talking about vows made in his name falsely. Okay? Ani yoma lechim la bilati ha sheba basum an yon lo bashamachim she kise Elokim chaya. That vow in any issue or matter. Okay? And then he asks a question. Okay? You might make a vow in any issue or matter that you can't fulfill, that you know that you're not going to do. All right? Li shakar. Teshbahul bashimi li shakar. Make a vow in my name falsely, to falsification, to error. Okay? So he says, belity, absence, not, okay, is the lesser translation of that word, belity. But it means to be absent of, to be without this intent. Okay? That vow, or the vow, that is made lis shakar, falsely. In any issue, lo bashamachim she kisei, is not in the heavens that throne of Elohim being. See, this goes to sovereignty. Okay. When you make these false vows, okay, this goes to sovereignty. Don't make any vow that you know you're not going to keep in matters related, okay, in issues that you know you can't fulfill, in matters that you know you have no sovereignty over, okay. Oh, I'm going to build a rocket ship. Can we build a rocket ship and go to the moon? Yeah, knowing that you can't do it. Okay. See, you're trying to establish a sense of sovereignty over things. Okay. And that's a bad thing to be, a place to be at. Where you think you got so much power and so much sovereignty from your own intelligence and life that you can say anything you want. And then when you don't do it right or you don't fulfill it, in most cases, in this culture, we blame the person that's the victim of our erroneous promises. Okay? Because we don't want to give up our sovereignty. We got to be right. That's the curse of supremacist culture. Nobody wants to be wrong. Why? Because they think that they have some sovereignty over life. And you don't. Is not in heaven the throne, the sovereignty, the authority? You're going to make a vow to heaven, okay? You're going to make a vow, a sovereignty to someone, knowing you can't fulfill it, knowing you're not going to do what you're going to say you're going to do, so you go into your catalog of excuses to dismiss your unfaithfulness so that you can still appear to have some type of sovereignty in life. It's somebody else's fault that you didn't do it. They got in the way, or you didn't do it right. Okay? The victim always being blamed And that's how this culture works. It's you that's wrong. Okay? Somebody suggested that people don't function with me in ministry because I'm mean. I have having a mean bone in my body. I will protect myself. I will protect my family. But I'm not out here mean mugging and trying to hurt anyone. Okay? But it's my fault that you won't come out of the box of religion that keeps us stagnated spiritually, where we can never progress to the fullness of the stature of the measure of Messiah. That's the box I'm out of. And I'm going for the goal. The apostle taught that no man runs a race, okay, without following the rules. There's rules to this thing. You don't have sovereignty. What Yahweh demands of you is humbleness. Humble thyself under the mighty hand, the power, the sovereignty of Yahweh, and he will lift you up. Okay? So because of this false consciousness of self-sovereignty, in many cases we make promises and vows and pledges to do things because we want people to think that we're more than what we are. And then when it is proven that we cannot fulfill what we say, then we come up with excuses, or we redirect it and blame it on the person that we made the promise to. Well, if you hadn't done this, I would have done this. But because you did this, I couldn't do that. And then the person who you promised to, he all mixed up. But the fact remains is that you did not fulfill what came out of your mouth. See, that's all I deal with. Your excuses mean nothing. My excuses mean nothing. When I say I'm going to do something and don't do it, I take responsibility for the incompetence within me. That I spoke above my ability to do. Peter's principle. That's what Peter did. Oh, Master, I'll go to jail for you. I'll die with you. When the time came, Peter was denying. Oh, I don't know him. I don't know him. I don't know him. See, he spoke beyond his ability. And this is what Yeshua is teaching us. That when we make these erroneous vows, these pledges that is beyond our ability to fulfill, instead of submitting ourselves and saying, as James said, don't go and say you're going to do this and you're going to do that and you're going to do this. But say, if it be Yahweh's will, I'll be able to do this and I'll be able to do that. Because all power belongs to Yahweh, Elohim, and not to you. Get that in your mind firmly. And when you are conscious of his sovereignty and become conscious of your lack of sovereignty, this is when you can move smoothly with Yahweh. This is when you can bow your head to Yahweh. This is when you can walk in obedient walk to Yahweh, evaluating and examining yourself, knowing where you are in this walk. See, it's from faith to faith. You might not be here. You might be here. Be honest with yourself. And stop saying you're going to be able to do this and do that, knowing that you don't have the power to do it. You don't have a throne. The throne is where? Bashamachim She Kiseh. That throne that's in heaven. That throne that is, that sovereignty and that power that is exclusively in Yahweh's hand. We have to, at some point, as Messianic Hebrews, recognize that this thing is more than just talking about relationship. Talking about what Yahweh can do. I've been hearing it for years, especially when I was in the church. Y'all gonna make a way, this and that, just repetitions, just all this grandiose talk. And then 10 years later, the people was in the same spiritual predicament they was in 10 years ago when you said Yahweh would make a way. And then when Yah sends you a prophet or a teacher to advance and progress you into that higher level of faith, you don't want it because it goes against your religious traditions of this is how it should be. See, that's that box we live in. But he goes on further and says in verse 35, he says, Velo be'aretz shechadom regeh lehul hu lo ba shamayim sha'ir elakim ha-yah. Okay? And translated, is not in the earth that stool of his feet being. So he's asking the question. Isn't the earth the stool of his feet? His resting place for his feet. See, even the lesser element of his power, his feet, have sovereignty over the things of the earth. Okay? You don't have that sovereignty where you can say and it's done without compromise. It says Yahweh sends forth his word, and every word he sends forth finds fulfillment. This is what the prophets teach. And this is what Yeshua is teaching us here. Okay? Is not in the earth that footstool of his feet being? And it goes on, is not in the heavens that city of Elohim being? Okay? Here you are thinking it's your city. Thinking the earth is your footstool. It's not. Any dominion and sovereignty that you have is given to you by Yahuwah. Okay? Apart from his presence within you, apart from his divine nature being manifested through you, you have no sovereignty. If you're just walking in the flesh of religion, if you're just walking in a lot of pretty words and cliches, grandiosing on religious redundancy, saying that I can do this, I can do this, I pledge this. You pledge 1,000 knowing you only got 100 in the bank, talking about Yah will make a way. Okay? See, that's the type of idiocy that we have fallen into. We haven't gone forward. I've seen the Christian church, when I first went into it in 1982, go from here morally to here. And now we got a lot of young people or people who are more concerned with teaching the acquisition of the things of the earth than the acquisition of the things of heaven, the obtaining of the glory of Yeshua. Fasting and praying alone won't do it. We purify our souls through the obedience of truth, through the life of self-denial. Okay? See, it's not one thing. Brother said the other day, he said, man, all these people talking about praying, but after you pray, you got to do something. And we're always trying to separate. No, prayer and doing goes together. This is a culture of life. Prayer is a part of that life. Tefillah. It's a part of the life of the righteous. We don't criticize it. Sometimes Yeshua went and he prayed for 40 days and 40 nights. Then he got up and did something. People with intelligence know that. We know that after we pray And after Yah empowers us through that prayer, now it's time to do something. But we keep praying while we're doing it. But there's nothing wrong with taking time off of fasting and prayer, as long as you have a plan to appropriate the answer to that prayer. Don't ask for wisdom and knowledge unless you're going to appropriate that wisdom and knowledge. Don't ask for the gifts of the Spirit unless you're going to minister those gifts of the Spirit for the empowerment of the people. Not to be a showboat or a celebrity. That's what we got, too many pastoral and ministerial celebrities. Okay? And people angry and people flow to their personality and their pretty words. When what the ministers should, and the pastors and the evangelists should be doing is directing people on how to live in the Spirit. How to produce power in them for the work of service. That's what we want you to do here. Is to produce power by living within this divine culture of his commandments, of his teachings, of his instructions. Okay? And if we grow to a level where we have a mega church, let it be a mega church filled with the Spirit and the power of Elohim and the testimony of his word and the redemption of his power for those who are lost in the darkness of this world that is continually to degrading themselves in the immorality and the decadence of modern social science and materialism. We're going to stay on this path. And we must recognize that our words only have sovereignty when they are empowered by Yahweh. When they are in line with his will. You can confess all you want. If your confessions are not in line with his will, it's just redundant rhetoric that brings no fulfillment to the will of the Father. We are here to fulfill the will of the Father and not social science, not our own visions, not our own intents. Because then you get off into manipulating things instead of living an honest yes and no life. This is a problem, constant problem, that I myself deal with daily in the ministry. Having to deal with people who are not cultured in divine culture. You can't even talk to them. They get defensive. Oh, no, I didn't do that. It's your fault. Oh, hold on. Oh, I'm just showing you a problem that we need to deal with. And you act like I'm trying to take away your false sovereignty. You have no sovereignty. All sovereignty belongs to Yahweh. His throne is in the heavens. This earth is his footstool. And the city of the great king, the city of Elohim, that's his, not yours. You don't tell Elohim to do what you want with his city. You don't even know the spiritual implications of a city. You think you're going to get on the plane and go over there to the Jerusalem over there of the earth. And there's nothing wrong with that if that's what you want to do. But the new Jerusalem that's coming down is going to be a Jerusalem that transcends any earthly concept. Yeshua is not coming in the body of his flesh, going to some temple built by human hands and rule for 1,000 years. That cartoon theology you can throw out the window. The apostles already taught that Yahweh does not dwell in temples made by human hands. So how did we even come up with a doctrine that this humanoid divine form, this false Jesus that they preach, this glorified human being, okay, in a flesh body, is going to come out the sky one day, okay, is going to come out the sky one day, go to Jerusalem and rule for 1,000 years. Where do we get this type of theology from? This cartoon theology. When nowhere in the scripture it says that when he comes, he will come to be glorified in his people. Not outside of his people. He's already glorified. He come to be glorified in. These are the things that need to be studied. These are the things that need to be understood. And this is why we need to submit our will and our minds in prayer and in service to Elohim, so that we can receive an enlightened view of his scriptures that he left, that he memorialized through his prophets and the apostles of Yeshua HaMashiach. Okay? And this is why we have said we're going to teach this from the Hebrew, since Yahweh blessed us to have it. And I'm just surprised at having it and letting people know, hey, we have this. No one is saying, hey, let us see. Hey, let us investigate this manna. What is it? What does it say? Does it have historical validity? Does it have theological validity? Let's investigate and research and exhaust until we have a confirmation in our spirits. Because what this is saying, compared to most English translations, it loses a lot of the meaning. Okay? It makes it appear that Yeshua is debunking Torah teachings, and he's not. Okay? Because he is more specific when he says, Lo tishbahu besemi li shakar. Not you vow in my name falsely. See, that's in the English it says, do not make a vow. Okay. Making it appear that he is debunking a commandment of Yahweh when he is not. You see what I'm saying? Because he exclusifies it as a false vow, an erroneous vow, a vow from false intent. And then he's clarifying here, or enlightening us to the fact that the sovereignty, Yahweh's sovereignty. Stop saying I'm going to do this. Stop saying I'm going to do that. But submit yourself to Yahweh's sovereignty, as Jacob, the brother of Yeshua HaMashiach, according to the flesh, taught. That stop saying I'm going to go here and there, and I'm going to buy here, and I'm going to sell here. But say, if it be Yahweh's will, we shall do this and we shall do that. See, that's submitting yourself to his sovereignty. Reminding yourself that his will is supreme. Reminding yourself that you don't have the sovereignty that supremacist culture has put into you, and that this false esteem of self-importance is not the will of the Father. This positive thinking, false esteem, this naming and claiming what you want. Okay? But if it be the will of the Father, if it be the will of Yahweh, humble yourself under his mighty hand, and he shall lift you up. He will exalt you in his mercy. He will exalt you in his kindness. He will exalt you in his love. He will exalt you in all knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. He will exalt you in the gifts of the Spirit and the proceeding of power to heal the sick and to raise the dead, to trample over scorpions and serpents. Okay? And this is the class of people that Yahweh is looking for. He's not looking for a bunch of arrogant people who talk about what they can do and what their dreams is. Give up your dreams and take on his dreams and visions. Seek him for his dreams and visions so that your mind can be spacious instead of narrow, dogmatic, isolated from reality. Okay? Yahweh Melech. Yahweh Melech. Yahweh Melech. He is king, not you. You are servant. You are son in the house who serveth his will. And we have lost that. We have lost that. And I will not compromise and take upon and I encourage you not to compromise and go back. Because what this ministry is about is trying to encourage people to go forward. I've talked to pastors. I'm exhausted myself with talking to pastors, and either they evade me, or they never give answer, or they make a false vow. Man, let's move the body forward. Okay? I'm not interested in whether you're Baptist, or whether you're a Word Church, or whether you this, or whether you're that. I only see one identity, the body of Mashiach. And wherever his name is being taught, wherever his word is being taught, wherever there is people praying, whatever name you go under, Messianic Hebrew, okay? If you are those that keep the commandments and the testimony of Yeshua, or those who want to enter on this level of faith, I'm with you. I'm going to work with you. Because we are workers together. That's what the scriptures teach. And if we get back to the scriptures, we wouldn't have all this disrespect and this celebrity ministries. We'd have people praying and sharing and opening their doors to the prophets that Yahweh is raising up. Opening the door to the teachers so that the people can be empowered. That's what the important thing is. For the edification of the body, for the perfecting of the Holy One, for the work of service. You don't have the sovereignty. Let go of your narcissistic control over the people of Elohim. You don't have the answer. Yahweh has the answer. His word is the instruction that leads us to the answer. And we got to get back to the word of Elohim, the scriptures, line upon line, precept upon precept. Seek ye in the book and read, for none of these shall be lost. None of the promises shall go unfulfilled if we read and ingest and manifest the instruction of the word, the instruction of the mitzvot. Okay? So we have to study until our jaws fall. We have to study until there is no more strength of self within us, but only the actuality of the word, only a consciousness of the word. To attain a mochin, de lenut, a spacious mind, a mind that can see beyond the earthly fantasies that we have fallen into, and the social science and the manipulative ideology that we have been conditioned to, socially engineered to react, to dress, to talk, and to do exactly what the system wants us to do. Be puppets of this immoral, decadent culture. And I'll be nobody's pulpit. I know who I am. I know what my gift is. You better know what yours is. Because you need to be par excellent in knowledge, in wisdom, in faithfulness to overcome this beast, to overcome this dragon, to overcome his deception. It's got to be more than a pretty religion. Got to be more than a pretty religion. See, I know I'm at war. Paul said, fight the good fight of faith. What does that mean to you? What does that mean to you? What does that mean to you? Fight the good fight of faith. Fight. Fight. That means you're doing something. That means you're trying to stop somebody or something from hurting you. You put up your fist, let's use the natural. Why are you swinging? Because you're trying to stop him from hitting you. That's called fighting. Two people trying to stop each other from hurting them. So I'm trying to stop the system and the spirit of Shaitan from hurting me. So I can't walk around with a pretty smile all the time, you know, put on that little religious image that the TV gave us, you know, the priest with the little Bible and a smile, and he talks so soft. And, oh, hallelujah. You must come and you must be peacemakers. And, you know, all the theater that we've been programmed to act in. Like one preacher told me, he said they spiritual in the church, but when they leave out, they go back to carnal living. They have no culture, no spiritual culture. And so we need to examine ourselves, our faithfulness, our consciousness that Yahweh is Malik, King, Sovereign, Ruler over us, and stop trying to govern him. And you pastors and teachers that continue to keep the higher levels of faith out of your churches, out of your seders, out of your synagogues, you need to be ashamed of yourself. You don't have the responsibility to lord over the sheep of Yahweh. You are not the chief shepherd. But we're going to prevail with this ministry. We're going to prevail with the Basarah of Yeshua HaMashiach, with the gospel of the kingdom that is to be preached to all ends of the earth. Then shall the end come. Ain't no end coming, no final results of the work of the Spirit coming with these earthly doctrines that is being preached. It's time to move on. It's time to be instructed in the higher level of Yahweh's will, in the higher level of what he has called us to receive the glory of Yeshua. Mashiach in you, the hope of glorification. Not a vicarious glorification, not a substitutional glorification, but an actual glorification until the presence of sin is ability absent. That's my vision. That's the vision that Yahweh gave me. And that's what we need to stick with. Mashiach in you, the hope of glory. Identifying ourselves by the one rule and identity that was shown to us in the book of Revelation. Those that keep the commandment and the testimony of Yeshua. Keep your social science, keep your pretty words, keep your little quotes. Emerson, Napoleon Hill, all these other crackpots. You can keep those when you come into my presence. I don't want to hear them. All I want to hear is Misvot, Ve, Basarah, Yeshua HaMashiach. His words of life, his commandments of self-denial, by which I'm able to be a partaker of divine nature. It's all I'm interested in understanding, because I've seen the fruits of the social science of capitalistic culture. I see it. If you don't see it, then you're just blind. And let the blind follow the blind, for they will both fall into a hole. But you follow Yeshua HaMashiach. Follow his teachings. Follow the commandments of Elohim. And you will find, as you hunt it through, you will find that deliverance, that healing, that power, that supreme intelligence, where you're not dependent upon the works of man's hands, but on the works of Yahweh's Spirit. Be aware. Be aware that greater knowledge is coming. Yahweh will open the door, and he will close the door to this other realm. You want to enter? Come into these teachings. Humble yourself. Study. Study your Hebrew. Study your Greek. Study English. Study everything. Every language that the word is written in, if need be. But get the tools that we need for the work of service to save our children from a future of destruction. It's on us. The responsibility to receive from Yahweh is on us. The responsibility to appropriate his will is upon us. And we have to do it according to the rules, to the instruction that he has established in Yeshua HaMashiach. That's it. Okay? Again, Ve'ani yoma lechem libit bilti, rather, ha-sheba. That's an important word. Look it up. Bilti, absence, to be without. Okay? Not just the word not. Okay? Absent, to be without. Lo is not. Constriction in the constrictive form of it. Okay? But bilti, absent, to be without. Those, pick out the important words and really study and exegete them. Get the tools that is needed to be able to communicate the Basarah Mokut, Yeshua HaMashiach, the gospel of the kingdom of Yeshua HaMashiach, and his holy mitzvot, commandments to the people. And may the Spirit guide our words and convict our hearts of judgment, of sin, and of righteousness, so that we can see an end to the moral degradation that the system is pouring out upon the people. So I say today, everybody, thank you for coming. We'll see you next week. Get this word out. Teach the word in season and in out. Be a part of the work of service in Yeshua HaMashiach. Shalom Aleichem. Sabbath Shalom. Or Shalom Sabbath.